Coming to the 10th lesson, that is sermon at Banaras. What is mean by sermon? Preaching. Yes, preaching. Sermon means preach. Preaching at Banaras. That means we have seen through this lesson we will be able to see Buddha the great preacher who had said what is life and what is death. That means every life, everyone who had a life will have to meet death. So that is the true fact of everybody. If life is there, what is also is there? Death is also there, and nobody can stop death, or nobody can rebirth the person or anybody from death. It is a must. So this is the lesson what the Buddha is teaching through this lesson. Understood? Now we come to the lesson. The sermon at Banaras. That means the preaching at Banaras. So you have to find certain words are given or activities are there. Using a dictionary. Ask your teachers and discuss the following question in group. What is a sermon? Preaching. Preaching is a sermon. Is it different from a lecture? A lecture means the person who is giving explanations, lecturing of a certain topic. Understood? Or a talk. Talk means it can also be on something, saying about the merits, demerits, qualities, all that. Understood? That is different. But the preaching is different, means in what way? It is giving a moral study value to it. It is giving a moral value. Can this word can also be used as a negative way or as a joke? It cannot be used sermon. The word we cannot use in a joking manner. My mother's sermon about getting my work done on time. That is different. So mother is lecturing, or mothers can give advice or can request. Can give advice is the most one, isn't it? Can advise, asking to do the work, and because of doing work what we are benefiting, what we are gaining, all that can be said in the form of advice. Understood? Find out the meanings affected with weak, composed, dissolution, lamentation, procure, be subject to. So these word meanings you have to get it from the dictionary. Have you heard of the sermon on the mount? Who delivered it? Or do you think delivered a sermon on Banaras? Now we are coming to the sermon at Banaras. Gautama Buddha. Who is the person? Gautama Buddha. That is 563 BC to 483 BC. During this time, he began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. So I think everybody knows the story of Sri Buddha, isn't it? He had been known as a Siddhartha, and at his very early age itself, he came to know about the sufferings of the people all around him. So he went on meditation and got enlightened. After getting enlightened, Siddhartha Gautama came to be known as the Buddha. Understood? So he was a prince named Siddhartha Gautama in northern India. At 12, he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu school scriptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. So at the age of 12, when he was 12 years old, he was sent to school. And after schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later, then after 4 years, he came back. That is, when he was 16 years old, he was forced to get marry a princess. They had a son, and royalty means he had in the princely royal life. So then, when he was 16 years, he got married and his son was born to him, and he lived in the royal family for 10 years. For 10 years, he lived in the royal family. Understood? So, he had a son at the age of 16 after getting married. So, maybe 17 or 18, he got a son. At about the age of 25. So, now when he was 25 years old. Now, he is 25 years old. The prince heretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world, while out hunting chanced upon a sick man, that an aged man, then a funeral procession, finally a monk begging for alms. So when he was 25 years old, he came to know about the sufferings of the people outside the palace. So when he was inside the palace, when he was in the royal family, he don't know what is suffering, isn't it? All the princes and princesses are living like that. They are not known about the sufferings. They are not known about the sufferings, isn't it? Because no sufferings enter where? Enter the gate of the palace. The kingly, everything is of kingly, isn't it? So nothing of unhappiness is seen among the members of that family. So now, when he was 25 years old, he came to know about the sufferings of the outside world. Once he went for hunting. So when he went for hunting, he came to know, he saw the sufferings in front of him. What are the things he had seen? Hunting, chance of a sick man. He saw a sick man. He saw a sick man, then an aged man, then funeral procession, and a monk begging for alms. Alms means help. Understood? Visha. So these are the things he had seen. So one day when he went for hunting, he first in his life is seeing a sick man suffering from illness. Then he saw an aged man inside the palace. His parents are aged, but that age is different from a person who is living outside. So his suffering, the suffering of that aged person. Then funeral procession, that means the dead body being taken by a group of people. So he understood there is death. Then a monk. Monk means saint. Monk is a saint. He is begging for alms. He is begging for alms. Collecting. He wanted money. Why? Because he may be starving. In order to help himself, he is begging with the other people. So all these scenes he had seen when he came outside the palace. These sights so moved him. Moved means made him feel that the feeling of the other people, feelings of the sick man, feeling of that aged man, feeling of that people in that group, then feeling of that monk, that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. So he went out, he left his kingly life and went for spiritual life. Enlightenment means for spiritual life. So he left his kingly life when he was at the age of 25, isn't it? He left his kingly life and went for a spiritual life to get enlightened. That means sitting and praying to God. Yes. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree. So where did he go? Under a peepal tree. For 7 years. 7 years he went around the world to see. Now he saw many sufferings. That 7 years he had seen many kind of sufferings. Then he went under a peepal tree to get enlightened. There he sat himself and started praying to God. Finally sat under a peepal tree where he vowed to stay until enlightened came. Till that he started meditation under a peepal tree till that light from the God has to come. Enlightened after 7 years, 7 days. So after 7 days he was enlightened. After 7 days he was enlightened. He renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, and this peepal tree was given the name Bodhi tree. The tree of wisdom. Bodhi tree means the tree of wisdom. And began to teach and to share his new understanding. So during that meditation he had studied a lot. He understood a lot, and he named the tree as Bodhi tree, and that is the tree of wisdom. And then onwards he started his teachings. He started his preachings. At that point he became known as the Buddha. So after enlightened he renamed himself as the Buddha. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares. So he came to Benares and his first teaching was done there. Most holy of the dipping palace of the river Ganges. That sermon had been preserved and is given here. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. So inscrutable means cannot be avoided. That kind of suffering. Understood now? I go through it. Gautam Buddha began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam in northern India. At 12 he was sent away from schooling in the Hindu school, sacred sculptures, and 4 years later he returned home to marry a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitted royalty. At about the age of 25, the prince feared to shielded from the sufferings of the world by out hunting chanced upon a sick man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree where he vowed to stay until enlightened came. Enlightened after 7 days, he renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, that is tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understandings. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares, most holy of dipping place on the river Ganges. That sermon has been preserved, that is still it is there and is given here. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about the one inscrutable kind of suffering. So now we are going to that scripture which had been given on the banks of river Ganges. Understood? Now you understood? That means he had been leading a princely life in the royal palace, and when at the age of 16 he got married, and then a son was born to him, and for 10 years they were living comfortably in the palace, isn't it? And once when he went out for hunting, he came to understand there are sufferings in the world, and what is the life, what he is leading is far different from those sufferings. Whom all he had seen? He had seen a sick man, an old man, a monk and a funeral procession. So when seeing all this, he understood there is the life which is seen outside is far different from the life what he has been doing in his palace, isn't it? Then again he left his princely life and he left for Vishnu to find it. Vishnu, there he found a people tree and there under that he sat and after 7 days he got enlightened. And he named the tree as the Bodhi tree, that is tree of wisdom. And then he started his preaching and then he left the place, isn't it? He went from one place to another. And that inscriptions which had been inspired by Sri Buddha is being seen on the banks of the river Ganges. Now we are going to that scriptures. So this is what the story happened to him while after he had been preaching. Understood? One of his preaching, one of the lesson what he had taught the people. Kissa Gautami, that is the name of the lady. Kissa Gautami. Kissa Gautami had an only son and he died. So she was having a son and he died. In her grief means sorrow. In her sorrow, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine, and the people said she had lost her sense. The boy is dead. So the poor lady had lost her only son and she could not hold that death, isn't it? She cannot understand that her son is dead. What did she do? She carried the dead body to all the neighbors and asked them to make him alive, isn't it? Because she cannot understand, she cannot think about the death of her son. Then what did the neighbors think about her? She had lost her sense, isn't it? Can anybody come rebirth? No, nobody can do that, isn't it? Once the person is dead, he is dead all over. So the poor lady cannot make it sure that her son has died. So she went all around the person asking medicine. Medicine for what? To make her son bring back to life. She had lost her sense. So everybody thought now she is mad. She had become mad. Boy is dead. She cannot understand that much. At length, Kissa Gautami met a man who replied to her request. I cannot give the medicine for your child, but I know a physician who can. So a man tried to help her. What did he say? I have no medicine to give to him to bring him back to life, but I will send. I know a physician who can help you. And the girl agreed, and the girl said, pray tell me, sir, who is it? And the man replied, go to Sakyamuni the Buddha. Sakyamuni the Buddha. So what did who is the physician referred over here? Buddha. Kissa Gautami repaired to the Buddha and cried. So she ran to Buddha and there she cried, Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy. So she ran to the Buddha and asked him for the medicine. Medicine for what? To bring back her dead son back to life. The Buddha answered, I want a handful of mustard seed. Mustard means kadagales. And when the girl in her joy promised to procure to give it, collect it, Buddha added, the mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent or friend. So, what is the medicine being said by the Buddha? He said, okay, you go and get a handful of mustard seed from a house But you remember, nobody from that house had died. Either a parent or father or mother. That means no one had been dead from that family. Lost a child, husband, parent or friend. Poor Kisa Godami now went from house to house. So she went in search of mustard seed. There she could find nobody had been lost from that house, isn't it? So she went from one house to another. And people pitied her and said, so people got sympathy over her and said, here is mustard, take it. But when she answered, did a son or daughter, a father or mother die in your family? They answered her, the living are few, but the dead are more. That means when she had asked if there anybody had died from your family, what did they say? The living members are less. Death had already come in more in number. That means in our family, there are people who had passed away, isn't it? And do not remind us of our deepest grief. That means you please don't make us remind about our lost people. And there was no house but some beloved one had died in it. So she found that there was not a single house where no one had lost anybody. So one or the other member of their family had already passed away. So there was in every house she could find one or the other had lost, and they are suffering from that loss. So she did not get a mustard seed from a house where nobody was lost. Understood? Poor Kisa Godami now went from house to house, and then people were showed sympathy to her. They are ready to give mustard seed, but at the same time, they were not able to say that nobody had died from them, isn't it? There are many had passed away. Kisa Godami became weary and hopeless, so now she became more sad, and because she had lost her hope also, and sat down at the wayside watching the lights of the city. As they flickered up and were extinguished again, the lights are flicking and extinguishing. That means on and off. At last, the darkness of the night reigned everywhere. Then, after flicking, and for some time, the whole light had gone, and only darkness was there. And she considered the fate of men, that their lives flicker up and are extinguished again. So then she understood that human life also is the same. They also flicker for some time, and afterwards they also get dim. They also get extinguished. And she thought of herself, how selfish am I in my grief? Death is common to all. Yet in this valley of dissolution there is a path that leads him to immortality, who had surrendered the whole selfishness. So she found herself that she is selfish. Why she is selfish? Because she was not able to part her dead son, isn't it? She wanted to bring him back to life. So she had compared it, the life of the human beings, to what? To the flickering of the light and extinguishing. That means on and off. For some time it will be on, and then after some time it will go off, isn't it? So she thought human life also is same. For some time they will be showing the light, after some time they have been coming dim also. That means for sometimes they are alive, and afterwards they are dim forever, isn't it? So that is sure, and she is understood herself why she has to be so selfish. She did not think about others, isn't it? She thought about only her own son. But it happens to each and everyone in the world. The Buddha said, the life of mortals in this world is troubled and brief and combined with the pain. That means the life is having two phases, joy and sorrow. The life has two phases, joy and sorrow. So if joy is there, what is the next one? Sorrow is the must. And if sorrow is there, what is the next one? Joy is the must. So without suffering these two phases, nobody can live on this earth. Understood? So that is the human fact. For there is not any means by which those that have been born can avoid dying. That means once if you are born in this earth, then you have to face what also death. So death is sure for everybody, whoever is born on this earth. After reaching old age, there is death of such a nature or living beings. Nature or living. So for every living beings, death is a sure. That means we cannot avoid death. If you are born on this earth, what is sure? Death is sure. That means after some time, can it be in a lengthy life or in a short life, you have to go back to death, isn't it? There nobody can give you medicine and make you still alive. That means you have to give away your life. As ripe fruits are early in danger of falling, no mortals were born as always in danger of death. That means, as ripe fruits are early in danger of falling. That means the tree is full of fruits, and both raw and ripe fruits are there. Which will fall down first? The raw or the ripe? Raw and ripe. So, it is the tree, mango tree. Think about the mango tree. There are both fruits, ripe and the raw ones are there. Raw means pacha, ripe the pulp. Yes, both are there. And which will fall down first? The raw one or the ripe one? Yes, the ripe one will fall down. They are getting mature, they are ripened now, and they could not stand as strong as the raw ones. Raw ones stem is so strong, isn't it? So they can stand for some time also. So what happens to the ripe one? They will fall down. So after some time, when that raw which is being still standing there get ripened, what will happen? It will also fall down, isn't it? Similarly, whoever is born on the earth, after some time, they have to meet what? They have to meet death. As all earthen vessels made by the potter end in being broken, so is the life of mortal. Mortal means the person who has to meet death. No people in the world is mortal. That means nobody can live in the earth for a long time and there is no death, isn't it? Nobody is there. All have to meet their death. That means a potter making pots made of all mud and they are being arranged. If one is fallen or one is broken, what happens to the next? All will fall down and all will get destroyed. So that is the end of that pot, isn't it? Similarly, there is an end for every living being. Not only human beings, animals also. Once they are alive, after some time they have to meet their death also, isn't it? In one case, maybe a little longer or a shorter, but anyway, they have to meet death. So nobody can stop it by using any kind of medicine. Both young and adult, both those who are fools and those who are wise, all fall in the power of death, all are subject to death. So there is no difference between rich and poor. There is no difference between rich or poor, wise or fool, or young or old. Isn't it? No Maybe your life shorter or maybe your life longer, but you have to meet what? Death, isn't it? That is sure. So can you say when you are very clever and intelligent, I am very clever person, I am intelligent, I can stop death. Can you say and be alive? No. For you also who comes. Once upon a time you will come to you also. Death will come to you also. So whether you are young or old, or you are brilliant, or you are fool, or you are prince, or you are a farmer, anybody can be, isn't it? Who will come to you? Death will come to you, and it is sure to you. This is a lesson what? Who is teaching? Buddha is teaching. Of those who overcome by death, depart from life, a father cannot save his son, nor kinsman their relation. That means because of here Kisa Gautami is the mother and she was crying for her son who is dead, isn't it? Wanted to bring back. They similarly, a father cannot bring back his dead son or any of the relatives. Understood now? Mark, while deities are looking on and lamenting deeply. Lamenting means cry. Lament, to cry. Lament, to cry. Lamenting deeply, one by one, mortals are carried off. That means one by one, these people are being taken away by whom? By death. Like an ox that is led to this slaughter. Like an ox taken to a slaughter means that to a butcher who is killing them. See, the world is suppleted with the death and decay. So the whole world is filled with the death and decay. Therefore the wise do not grieve knowing the terms of the world. So if you know yourself that after some time you have to go along, when the death comes to you, you will not feel what? Frightened, or you will not feel any kind of sorrow, because you should know the truth that if you are born on the earth, after some time who will come to you to take you? Death will come to you for taking, isn't it? That time we have to be ready to go with the whom? To go with the death. Understood now? So there is no need of fear or sorrow. Understood? Not from weeping nor from grieving will anyone obtain peace of mind on the contrary. So, why cry? Because of if you cry or if you feel fear, we cannot overcome what? Death. His pain will be the greater and the body will suffer. So, how far you are getting fear or how far you are worrying about your death, the more you will get a pain in your body only, and that means your body is suffering more and more pain. He will make himself sick and pain, yet the dead are not saved by his lamentation. So, because you have lost somebody of yours, any one of your dear ones, and if you cry and cry the whole life, what will happen? Only your body is suffering, isn't it? And you are becoming pale and pale, and nobody is worried because you yourself only suffer for the loss of somebody, isn't it? That means after some time we have to overcome this suffering. That is what is the lesson. That means throughout your life you should not sit and worry or be unhappy about the grief, about the sorrow that had happened to you. After some, that means you must understand the truth. If you are born on the earth, who will come after some time? Death will come, that is sure, isn't it? So that in the name of the death, you should not spend your life sorrowfully, isn't it? You have to forget it. Because if you continue in that sorrow life, what will happen to you? You will suffer, your body will suffer, you will not gain anything. So you have to overcome it, you have to forget it. Therefore, the wise do not grieve, not for weeping, nor for grieving with anyone, and obtain peace of mind on the contrary. his pain will be the greater and the body will suffer. He will make himself sick and pain. Yet the dead are not saved by his lamentation. That means because of his sorrow, can the dead person come back to life? No, it is not possible, isn't it? Nobody can make the dead person come alive. So for the loss, why you have to waste your whole life? Understood? You should not waste your whole life for the loss what had happened to you. You have to overcome from that great sorrow. He who seeks peace should draw out the arrow of lamentation and complain and grief. That means he should not go into the sorrow so deeply. He has to overcome it. He who has drawn out the arrow and has become composed will obtain peace of mind. So if he is able to overcome that great sorrow or great grief, he will be able to have peace of mind. He who had overcome all sorrow will become free from sorrow and be blessed. So nobody should. So what the preaching is, someone is saying, nobody should be unhappy or spend his whole life in the thought of the lost one, isn't it? In the thought of the lost one. Make your mind peaceful. How to make your mind peaceful? You have to overcome from that sorrow. Then you will be having a peace of mind. That peace of mind will make you live, isn't it? It will make you live. Otherwise, what will happen? If you spend your whole life for the loss, what will happen? You will suffer. Your body will suffer and you will not be able to overcome any of the obstacles in the world, isn't it? So better you have to overcome from the grace of whoever may be, how much dear they are to me also. After some time you have to forget about the loss of them. Then only you can make up your mind to live on this earth. That is the lesson what Gautama Buddha was preaching on the bank of river Ganges, that is in Benares. Understood now? When your son dies, Kisa Gautami goes from house to house. What does she ask for? She asked for a handful of mustard seed. Does she get it? She did not get. Why? Because getting the mustard along with the mustard seed, what she should know, that nobody from that house, nobody had lost anyone from their family, isn't it? So she could not find any of the house where nobody was lost. So is there any use of that mustard seed? There was no use. That shows that death is natural for all, isn't it? It is a true fact for everyone. So now we have come to the end of the lesson. The notes will be sent to you. Read the lesson.